In the quaint Ghanaian town of Akrapong, nestled between rolling hills and sparkling rivers, Adwoa and Kwame lived parallel lives, unaware of the profound connection that would soon bind them together. Their story is a testament to the power of love before romance, a tale of friendship, growth, and the beauty of finding your soulmate in the unlikeliest of ways. Adwoa, a shy and book-loving 19-year-old, had just moved to Akrapong to care for her ailing grandmother. The weight of responsibility settled heavily on her shoulders, but she was determined to make a new life for herself. As she wandered through the town's winding streets, Adwoa discovered a charming bookstore that became her sanctuary. The musty scent of old books and the sound of pages turning were her solace. Kwame, a 21-year-old free spirit, had returned to Akrapong after traveling the world. His adventurous soul had explored distant lands, but the comfort of home beckoned him back. With a heart full of stories and a mind full of questions, Kwame sought a new sense of purpose. He found himself drawn to the same bookstore, where the owner, Mr. Owusu, became a mentor and friend. One fateful afternoon, Adwoa and Kwame's paths crossed in the bookstore. As Adwoa reached for a shelf, she accidentally knocked over a stack of books, and Kwame rushed to help her pick them up. Their eyes met, and they exchanged warm smiles. The awkwardness dissipated, replaced by an inexplicable sense of familiarity. "Let me help you with those," Kwame said, his voice gentle. "Thank you," Adwoa replied, her cheeks flushing. As they stood up, Adwoa noticed the way Kwame's eyes crinkled at the corners when he smiled. Kwame, in turn, admired Adwoa's kindness and intelligence. They discovered a shared love for literature and music, and their conversations flowed effortlessly. Over the next few months, Adwoa and Kwame grew closer, exploring Akrapong's hidden gems together. They'd sit by the river, watching sunsets and discussing life's mysteries. Kwame introduced Adwoa to the thrill of hiking, while Adwoa taught Kwame the joy of reading poetry. Their laughter echoed through the hills, and their friendship deepened. Adwoa confided in Kwame about her struggles with her grandmother's illness, and Kwame shared his fears about finding his purpose in life. They found comfort in each other's company, and their trust grew. As seasons changed, Adwoa and Kwame's bond strengthened. They began to notice the little things about each other, the way Adwoa's eyes sparkled when she laughed, the way Kwame's hair curled slightly at the nape of his neck. But neither dared to acknowledge the flutter in their chests, the skipped beats of their hearts. They didn't want to risk losing their precious friendship. One fateful evening, as they sat on the riverbank, Kwame turned to Adwoa and asked, "What if I told you that I've been feeling something more than friendship between us?" Adwoa's heart skipped a beat. She looked into Kwame's eyes and saw the sincerity and vulnerability there. In that moment, Adwoa realized that her feelings for Kwame went far beyond friendship. She smiled, and Kwame's face lit up with hope. As the stars began to twinkle above, Kwame took Adwoa's hand, and they shared their first kiss under the night sky. The world around them melted away, leaving only the two of them, lost in the magic of their love. Their romance blossomed, but it was built on the foundation of their friendship, trust, and shared experiences. They knew each other's hearts, and their love became a sanctuary where they could be their true selves. Adwoa and Kwame's story teaches us that love can begin long before romance. It can grow from the seeds of friendship, nurtured by shared moments, laughter, and vulnerability. Sometimes, the person you least expect to fall in love with is the one who's been right beside you all along. As they gazed into each other's eyes, Adwoa and Kwame knew that their love would forever be a reminder that true connection knows no bounds, and that sometimes, the greatest loves start with the simplest of friendships. Years later, Adwoa and Kwame sat on their porch, watching the sunset over Akrapong. They held hands, their love still radiant. "Do you remember that day in the bookstore?" Adwoa asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "How could I forget?" Kwame replied, smiling. "It was the start of our forever." Their eyes locked, and the memories flooded back. The laughter, the adventures, the quiet moments when it was just the two of them. "I'm grateful for that day," Adwoa said, her voice filled with emotion. Me too, Kwame whispered, his eyes shining with love. Me too. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm orange glow over the town, Adwoa and Kwame sat in comfortable silence. Their hands entwined, their hearts full. Their love story was one of patience, trust, and the beauty of finding your soulmate in the unlikeliest of ways. It was a reminder that true connection knows no bounds and that sometimes, the greatest loves start with the simplest of friendships. A year later, Adwoa and Kwame's love continued to flourish. They traveled the world together, exploring new lands and experiencing new cultures. They built a life filled with laughter, adventure, and purpose. One day, Kwame took Adwoa to the same riverbank where they had shared their first kiss. He got down on one knee, pulled out a small box, and asked, "Adwoa, from the moment I met you, I knew you were special. Will you marry me?" Tears of joy streaming down her face, Adwoa nodded eagerly. "Yes, yes, a million times, yes," she exclaimed. As they hugged, the river flowing gently behind them, Adwoa and Kwame knew that their love would forever be the guiding force in their lives. Their wedding was a beautiful blend of traditional Ghanaian culture and modern elegance. Family and friends gathered to celebrate the union of two souls meant to be together. Adwoa, resplendent in her Kent cloth-inspired wedding gown, beamed with happiness. Kwame, dashing in his traditional Ghanaian attire, couldn't take his eyes off his bride. As they exchanged vows under the shade of a majestic tree, Adwoa and Kwame promised to love and cherish each other for a lifetime. Their love story was one for the ages, a testament to the power of true connection. Years later, Adwoa and Kwame sat on their porch, watching their children play in the yard. They held hands, their love still radiant. "Do you remember that day in the bookstore?" Adwoa asked, smiling. "How could I forget?" Kwame replied, chuckling. "It's the story we'll tell our grandkids one day." Their eyes locked, and the memories flooded back. The laughter, the adventures, the quiet moments when it was just the two of them. Their love had grown, evolved, and flourished. It remained the foundation on which they built their life together. And as they gazed into each other's eyes, Adwoa and Kwame knew that their love would forever be the guiding force in their lives.